Look, Robbie Katter is a Queensland MP, the 46-year-old son of Senator Bob Katter. He is the leader of Katter's Australian Party. He's been in the Queensland Parliament for 11 years. Robbie Katter has a Bachelor of Applied Science in Property Economics from the Queensland University of Technology. I might add, in 2020, he called on the federal government to buy back Qantas Airlines. Well, after the decision yesterday that Qantas will now have yes painted on its planes, you can't help but feel that Robbie Katter was right. He makes a very important point. As a bloke from the bush, whose electorate of Tregear is 428,000 square kilometres. Now, that is exactly double the size of Victoria. You're looking at Robbie Katter, that's his electorate. Double the size of Victoria, one MP. So that's another democratic hoax, isn't it? One vote, one value. Absolute rubbish. Do you think a vote in Tregear, where Robbie Katter can only service his electorate in a helicopter, carries the same benefits as a vote in Higgins or Kooyong or Wentworth or Ryan in Queensland? It clearly doesn't. A vote in metropolitan Australia provides a stack of benefits that are unavailable to the voter in electorates like Tregear. Think doctors, teachers, childcare, but few in government care. Anyway, Robbie Katter does care. To the present, he and his father, Bob Katter, have known the Aboriginal community all their lives. Robbie Katter is now saying that to present the voice as the panacea to all problems relating to our first Australians is a cruel and misleading approach and disregards the great problems they confront. Robbie Katter has said, and I quote him, "Not only would it reinforce a divided Australian culture, but also it would create an effective diversion from true solutions." Robbie Katter joins me. Robbie, thank you for your time. Just explain the size of your electorate to people viewing this broadcast.
Go sort of halfway down the Northern Territory border, or perhaps a third way down, and go to the coast. Really hug the coast all the way without going into Cairns Council, and all up through the Gulf of Carpentaria. So I've got near coastal towns, remote Gulf communities, a number of just pure Aboriginal communities, two of those discrete. But a heavy Aboriginal population in a lot of the other towns. And it's mostly a collection of very small, remote communities who are all very disadvantaged. It's not just the Indigenous communities, but all these remote communities are. And most or a lot of the projections for the population for most of my electorate is down. So I'm fighting a losing battle. And as the populations get smaller in those towns, the government always wants to expand the size of your electorate because you're supposed to have a certain number of voters in your electorate. So every 8 years we do a redistribution. My seat just keeps getting bigger and harder to get around.
Absolutely. I mean, just on this, I know you're not worried about money, but I'm talking about getting around that electorate and helicopters and everything is an expensive business. In terms of the salary that you get and the allowances that you get, are you getting an allowance far greater than the member for Wentworth?
Well, you might say that, but I pilot my own aircraft, which reduces the cost to the government by about 75%, and I do that, and that was at a substantial cost to myself to get that license, and to do that's just really to get around with not as much as I'd like, and I ran out of travel budget 2 months before the end of the last financial year, so. Perhaps that's a reflection of me not managing it well, but I would say I should be getting around a lot more.
No, you can't, mate. No. I tell you what, to viewers, I know the Katter family. They do everything possible and more, but it's just, you can imagine, twice the size of Victoria. Robbie, to business, thank you for your sensible observation. You said, quote, "My experience of working for government in this space leaves me to question what is the point of having the greatest voice if there's no one willing to listen and act at the other end." So, Robbie, they've had a lot of time to act and government have done nothing. The voice is not going to change anything.
Precisely. Alan, I think it's such a great insult to there's many highly competent Aboriginal mayors up here through the Cape and the Gulf. A couple of them are outstanding people who have gone down. And I bet you I know which way they're voting on this referendum because they've been going down there for years. I've been with them quite often asking for sensible things like title deeds, movement on blue cards, renal renal units, addressing RHD, rheumatic heart disease, which is a huge problem up here. But we've been down there petitioning for many years. They listen politely, but they don't act. And to think that a new breed of suits driving around in limousines in Canberra are going to do that job more effectively than myself, or those hardworking mayors that are up here now, is a real insult to us.
Absolutely.
And I can't see how they're going to have the answers any better than we are.
Oh, God. You wouldn't listen to them.